so many moving parts. I know Greg's got a question on this, so and that's de minimis. I'll just a little bit of background for listeners. De minimis exemptions are the means by which shippers skip import fees on lower value shipments. Over 100 countries have them in place. They are basically there to prevent mass pileups of low value products and excess bureaucracy. I'm simplifying, but for our purposes, that'll do as an explanation. At the start of February, when new US 10% tariffs on imports from China were introduced, the US Postal Service announced it would no longer accept inbound mail packages from Hong Kong and China as de minimis exemptions were also removed at the same time. What ensued was total chaos, and certainly at CBP, which you sort of referred to just briefly then, the system was quickly put back in place. But we are supposed to be seeing this maybe reimposed next month. Firstly, is this likely in your view? And if it is anything in place to your knowledge that means it might work now when it didn't 7 or 8 weeks ago?
De minimis has been under attack on many fronts in the United States, and it's been around since the 1930s, and it has gradually raised to $800 in the United States. The raise to $800, Congress's intent was actually to facilitate small and medium-sized businesses being able to trade freely. So that was the intent when it was passed in 2016, 2017. Congress has come around to really being against this for several different reasons. What I saw happen when that was taken, when de minimis was taken out, and it's estimated that 75% of all de minimis comes from China. So the removal of de minimis for China created havoc. The simple reason was it needed more information. So in a de minimis transaction, there are not as many data elements that are required. There still is a lot of data that's required, contrary to what a lot of people understand. There is still a lot of data. However, some additional data was needed on the products that wasn't needed in the de minimis environment. So I needed to classify them. I needed to know some additional information about them. If it was a Section 301 or 232, I needed even more information about that, and I didn't have it. So two things happened. One, normal air freight stopped because companies needed more information to be able to clear the goods through customs in a, formal or informal environment, non-de minimis environment. The other big and more impactful thing that happened was the U.S. Post Service couldn't handle and has no way to collect duty or to pay it to the government. So right now, when a package comes in on the Postal Service, they take that information and it's cleared on a very limited set of data. Once the administration said you can no longer use that process to clear any freight from China, the U.S. Postal Service had one method to clear all of that freight. Anything that comes in over $800, Customs actually, or the Postal Service, reaches out to the consignee and says, "Who is your customs broker?" And then they get the name of the customs broker files an entry. This is all done by mail. So it can take weeks for that process to happen. If that's the only way, and it's manual, it's not automated in any way, so it's completely manual. So we're talking a million shipments a day. There's absolutely no way the U.S. Postal Service could revert to that method. So they refused to handle freight for a period of time. However, that violated the Postal Service as part of actually the UPU, which is a treaty. It is not, an agreement. It's an international treaty. So some of our trade partners said, you can't just stop handling our packages. That's not legal. So they started, handling the packages again. And that led to the administration saying, we have to suspend the suspension of de minimis and really figure out what we're going to do. And you see, when they revoked that, they said until such time as systems are available. So what does that mean? Well, one, it gave the normal freight environment a little bit of time to put in processes to gather more information at the time the goods are shipped, because that's the time you really need it. You need to know, hey, there's some more information I need. I'm going to ask you when you ship it, especially on small products, that whoever's receiving it. I order a pair of shoes online. I don't know
This
anything
is
about
Temu and
that.
Shein, right? This is this big driver of the air cargo market, for
Right.
example. Like this is
Right.
a lot of this is business direct to consumers in the US for out
Right.
of China.
Absolutely, absolutely. So it allowed the normal freight environment a little bit more time to put systems in place to collect that information. The bigger thing is, what is the post office going to do? They don't have a plan. They've never had a plan to address this. So I think they have a couple of options here. One, they can refuse to handle it. That would require renegotiating treaties with countries. I don't find that to be a viable option, and we saw them do that and revoke it really quickly. Two is they could develop software themselves to collect the duty at the time that someone ships something and then pay it to customs. They could buy normal software that a customs broker or anyone else uses to facilitate that. It would require a lot of investment, a lot of money, a lot of people at a time when our administration is cutting resources. Don't find that either of those options are going to be viable. The other one is they could hire a customs broker. They could say, "Hey, Cindy, you are our customs broker for every postal shipment coming into the United States, and you're going to transact customs business and clear all of these." I think that's possible, actually. That's a possibility. The other thing is they could just completely privatize package handling all the way. From start to finish, you tender it, in the postal service, but UPS, FedEx, DHL, one of them comes in and they actually handle the package on behalf of the postal service, which a lot of the express industry, which I was part of for a long time, they lobby for that. They want that. They think that that is actually going to be more economical. So I think one of those two things will happen. I have not seen any movement either way, but most of us are not privy to these types of discussions in this administration. Things are being, discussed in an extremely small group of people. So who knows how it's going to be handled, but I don't see this as a quick fix.